Last year, I did something I've never done before. I backed a Kickstarter, meaning for the first time, I might also be getting scammed on Kickstarter. But the game that finally broke my Kickstarter virginity might also be worth your attention. Starfinder Afterlight was the biggest video game Kickstarter of 2025. Epic Teller Studios, a debut studio from Barcelona, put up a goal of $86,000 US. They walked away with nearly 1 million and close to 14,000 backers. Over 1,000% funded in only 31 days. That type of following for this game doesn't just happen by accident. Clearly this game resonates hard with a lot of people, including myself. So I backed it, got into the private backer beta, and spent some time with it. So let's take a first look at Starfinder Afterlight. First things first, if you've never heard of Starfinder, you're not alone. Prior to backing this, I hadn't either. Starfinder is a tabletop RPG from Paizo, the same company behind Pathfinder. It has the same creative DNA, except instead of swords and dungeons, you've got a galaxy where ancient magic and cutting-edge technology exist side by side. Starships, alien civilizations, laser rifles, arcane spellcasting, all of it is in the same setting. To draw the closest comparison, it's basically Guardians of the Galaxy. A colorful, weird sci-fi fantasy. Afterlight is the first video game to ever bring that universe to life, and it's doing it with the full Starfinder 2e rule set, which itself is built on the framework of Pathfinder 2e. So this is also the first video game to adapt either of Paizo's 2nd edition rule sets. The story in this one sets you up as a crew member who has to step up after your captain, a woman named Kali, mysteriously vanishes. An extinction event called the Afterlight is looming, and you're now the only one who can stop it from happening. Hopefully this one ends better than the last one with a ragtag group with galaxy annihilation looming over them. The Pact Worlds is the central setting, a system of planets, space stations, and factions that form the political heart of the Starfinder universe. Your ship acts as a central hub between locations. So far we've gotten Absalom Station, the massive city-sized space station at the center of everything, and then on the other end of the spectrum you've got Aox, a planet literally ruled by the undead. Starfinder has solid enemy variety potential, with things like skeletons, cosmic dragons, hell knights, and much, much more. Character creation is going to look super familiar to any CRPG fans. You're going to be able to pick your background, your class, your stats, all of that. At launch, we're looking at 7 ancestries right now. Androids, humans, Kasatha, which are 4-armed aliens, Lashunta, which are antenna aliens, similar to Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, Shirin, which are bug aliens, Vesk, which are lizard aliens, and finally Yasaki, which are basically just rats. And thanks to the Kickstarter stretch goals absolutely blowing past every single target, 3 more are going to be coming post-launch as free updates for the backers. Skittermander, Patras, and Vlakis. On the class side, the game is going to launch with 6 classes: Soldier, Envoy, Operative, Mystic, Solarian, and Witchwarper, with Technomancer and Mechanic also going to be unlocked as post-launch additions. The game will of course feature multi-classing through archetypes and dedication feats, straight from the tabletop rules. Your class, your ancestry, and your background are all going to change your dialogue and give you unique lines based on your character. Now I do feel it is important to mention that this is all just things that they want to do, and we don't really know if they're actually going to accomplish these goals, especially coming from a new studio, who quite frankly might just be making promises that are in over their head. As far as combat goes, the whole system runs on the Starfinder 2e action economy. Every turn you get 3 actions. Spend them however it makes sense. Move twice and attack, cast and reposition, use a consumable, get behind cover. In my experience with the early access build, it's actually much simpler than any other popular turn-based game. Of course, I basically was just playing a glorified tutorial, so maybe there'll be more complexity to come as the game launches into its actual full early access. And unlike its Owlcat Pathfinder brothers, this game will be exclusively turn-based. Afterlight commits fully to the turn-based, and I personally am a fan of the turn-based as opposed to real-time with pause. Real-time with pause did have its place in the Pathfinder games because they have so many trash mobs for you to fight, so as long as they stay away from trash fights, I think turn-based will work out pretty well here. And it is worth mentioning that there will, of course, be multiple difficulty options for the large variety of players. As far as companions go, they have promised 6 companions, all fully voiced. I believe they have also mentioned that there will even be NPCs to romance. Also, the narrator of the game is Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2, which definitely felt like an odd choice, but it kinda helps it lean into the space western vibe that the game has going on. Another major voice actor bonus is that they have Neil Newbon as the first companion you acquire in the game, otherwise known as Asterion. He plays Preach, who is one of the aforementioned weird bug alien things, and was one of the characters that I got to come across in the beta build. He is also the man in charge of the VO work, so hopefully that does mean we might actually get a high quality, fully voiced CRPG, which quite frankly does not come around often. So far, the companions who are planned are Cole Stryker, who is a Vesk soldier, Tycho, who is a Ysoki operative, Preach, who is a Sheeran mystic, Lou 323 as an android envoy, and lastly Sterling, who is a human Solarian. Sterling was also in the early beta build alongside Preach, and was probably my favorite character. They have also mentioned that our choices will influence companion relationships and some companions' fates. Your actions shape how factions remember you and how companions feel about you. You can play evil, and you can refuse to take companions at all and just run henchmen. The game is not going to force a particular experience on you. So now let's talk about the actual private backer build that I got into. 30 minutes with an early slice of the game. It was effectively just a tutorial. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it was stiff and it was buggy, but it did help me see the vision and I liked what I saw. This build was handed to the backers extremely early, earlier than I think most studios would ever let anyone near their game. But the bones are pretty solid. I'm definitely cautiously optimistic and not fully sold yet, but if they meet most of their promises, I do think that this will be one of the best CRPGs in recent years. Right now, they are intending to launch an early access build with around 10 to 15 hours of gameplay in Q2 of this year, aiming for a full launch next year in Q3 of 2027. Now personally, if you've been around the game industry for any more than 1 year, you would know that release dates don't mean anything. They might as well be 6 months to 1 year after whatever it is that they say. So this one is realistically probably going to be full releasing sometime in 2028. So I know that that is extremely far away at this point, but I do think it's worth keeping an eye on if you are a CRPG fan or someone who is just curious about the Starfinder universe. Either way, I just wanted to put out a spotlight on this game as one to keep an eye on, and we'll be covering it as it advances farther into production. Let me know what you think about Starfinder in the comments below, and thank you all very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.